Zion. Mount Zion, the first time mentioned the word Zion in the Bible, in the book of Samuel, when Prophet Samuel mentioned that King David brought the Ark of the Covenant to the city of Zion. Jerusalem was called Zion actually. Now we have the name of the gate, it's called Zion. Can you see this is one of the gates that lead us to the old city. So we saw now up till now 5 gates. And by the way, when you go through this gate, if you take to left, you will be in the Armenian quarter. You remember in the morning when I told you about the quarters of the city? Yeah. Who was my map in the morning? Guys, I told you we entered Jerusalem from the south today, okay? Yeah. We are located southwest now, okay? Here where we enter to the city, this is Mount Zion. So the moment we go through Mount Zion, if you get to the right, we'll be in the Jewish quarter, okay? Here, if we take to the left, we'll be in the Armenian quarter. Good? Thank you. So we will go now, and this gate has another name. We call it the Prophet David Gate. Why? Because they believe King David is buried here. Now we're gonna go to see the Last Supper room, where Jesus had, and what we call the Pentecost. Also we have a church here, but it's under reconstruction. We're not going to see it. It's the Church of Virgin Mary. Okay? The Assumption of Virgin Mary. We call it Dormition Abbey. But it's under reconstruction. They start doing that one year ago, and they are going to finish next year. It's a big reconstruction. So let's go to the upper room. Or the upper room, or the Cenacle. According to the book of Matthew, chapter 24, it tells us that Jesus told his disciples, you go to the city and you will see.
They should increase the volume because
Try to increase the volume. Book of Matthew 24 tells us that here Jesus came with his disciples and had his last supper, where he washed the feet of the disciples. Okay? But we have to understand that this part of the city, this part of this room was inside the city. Okay? So when the Christians came here in the beginning, they built a big chair on top of this area and that spot as well, where the laying of Virgin Mary, or where the Assumption of Virgin Mary. Since that place was destroyed during the 614 by the Persian, they later on during the Crusader built another church on top of this place. But the Crusader said, according to the book of Acts chapter 6, St. Peter mentioned that we are going to have the supper with King David. King David was buried 1,000 years earlier. So how come he mentioned like this word? Unless he is buried underneath them. So the Crusader said that underneath this place was the tomb of King David. That's why St. Peter mentioned we're gonna have our Last Supper with King David. But the Jews during that time, they said, no way, this is not the place where he was buried. He's supposed to be buried in the city of Siloam, south from here. They were not having the power enough to prevent this kind of theory or what the Crusader mentioned. Later on, when the Muslims came here, they said, oh, we believe that Jesus had the Last Supper with his disciples. So this place, we are going to change it into a mosque. They changed this place from a church into a mosque. You can see the image towards south. So here in the church, changed into a mosque. When the state of Israel was established in 1948, they said, okay, King David for us is a king and a prophet. He was chosen by God to be the second king of Israelite. So we are going to change his tomb into a synagogue. So now, this church will change into a mosque on top of a synagogue. Here where the three religions meet. So this is one of the unique places all over the world where you can see how a church change into a mosque on top of a synagogue. When John Paul II, the Pope, came here, his honesty, okay, he donated this bronze tree to this area asking for a peace. But when the state of Israel established in 1948, this area was part of the state of Israel. But later on, in 1967, there was a battle and Israel took the east part of Jerusalem. The Franciscans started to ask, these places belong to us. They said, no, you told us that this is the tomb of King David, so we have to have it. Tomb King David is a prophet for us. That's why there is a conflict. So the Franciscan church built another church next to this one, where we call it the Church of Cenacle, where we could celebrate the Thursday, the washing the feet of the people, where we celebrate the Pentecost, okay, and where we celebrate the Last Supper, okay? So this place has several. The moment we finish here, we're gonna go down to the tomb of King David, okay, and we're gonna split like the mount, the Wailing Wall. Women's supposed to be in a section, and we have the men's section down underneath this place. You can take some pictures. Father, do you want to say anything?
This is the most important place for us because Jesus, what he did on that day was the Last Supper, and that was in memorial of his passion and death, right? And that's passion and death what we now remember every Eucharist, and that is the last meal where, figuratively he offered his life and his blood, okay? So let's take a pause a moment. Especially sometimes we go for the Mass without any disposition, or we participate in the Mass but not really understanding that he has sacrificed himself for us. So let's remember that sacrifice. Every time we receive the body of Jesus, let's become like him. It's not possible, not impossible, but it's possible to become like Jesus. There are many of us who need God's healing and touch, so pause and pray that we love Eucharist. Every time we go for the Mass, we go with the intention of changing and converting ourselves.
No.
Pelican. Why pelican? Pelican because the only bird, when he doesn't find any food to feed his birds or kids, he starts to eat from his side and to give his birds. So Jesus said, this is my body that will be sacrificed for you, and that's happened here. That's why they consider the pelican like Jesus. We have a lot of birds and animals which represent Jesus, like the fish, the goat, and the peacock. Okay? Let's go to see the King David.
women decide.